Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, together with the Presidential Communications Office.
We bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Habiba Saripauda.
And I'm Joe Fernandez. We are from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to
Balitang Pambansa.
Tonight's headlines. Lawmakers shared their thoughts on the possibility of holding a special session for the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte. Several lower house Solons react to the recent statement made by Vice President Sara Duterte against the impeachment complaint lodged against her. Following President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s recent assertion, the Philippine Coast Guard expressed support to the chief executive and said that they will continue to protect the country's territory despite the many challenges. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, says that it will strive to ensure that those involved in vote buying will be penalized to ensure clean and honest 2025 midterm polls. Lawmakers react to the suggestion from the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, to collect a traffic congestion fee from all motorists who will pass through the said thoroughfare. The impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte will proceed in due time and should not be rushed at all. A date on the first weekend of June thereabouts is most likely after the winners of the midterm polls shall have been announced, to include the new senatorial lineup of the 20th Congress of the Republic, as our Daniel Malastas reports.
After this pronouncement from Senate President Francis Escudero yesterday,
para mag-convene ang impeachment court, kailangan may sesyon ang Senado. Para manumpa ang impeachment judges, kailangan may sesyon ang Senado. Bagaman ang trial pwede mag-proceed kahit na recess, tulad ng nangyari kay dati at yumaong Chief Justice Corona, dapat ito'y masimulan, makonvene at mapanumpa ang mga judges kapag may sesyon. So kung may mangyayari mang aksyon o kaganapan kaugnay ito, yan ay mangyayari sa June 2, pag-resume ng Senado.
the question now is it allowed to have a special session to start the ball rolling on the impeachment trial. Former Senate President Franklin Drilon said the remedy is the President can call Congress to a special session for the Senate to perform its constitutional duty acting as an impeachment court. He added that calling Congress to a special session to tackle the impeachment complaint is the sole prerogative of the President, who cannot be questioned even by the Supreme Court. But Senate President Francis Escudero asked why and what is the problem and what is there to remedy. Escudero said the session resumes on June 2 and vows to take the impeachment up after approving their impeachment rules. Meanwhile, another question floated is, in case of impeachment conviction, who replaces the Vice President?
So pwedeng pumili si Pangulong Marcos ng kongresista o senador na ang edad ay 40 years old and above. Matapos niyang pumili bilang kanyang nominado, pagbobotohan yan by a majority vote ng magkabilang kamara, House at Senate. Voting separately. Simple majority, voting separately.
Senator Joel Villanueva echoed Escudero, insisting impeachment should not be rushed.
Ang nakakalungkot lang yung ilang mga kasama natin sa Kamara na yung mga statements nila, no? I think they should be very careful with their statements. Lalo na yung mga tumatakbong senador.
From PTV Manila, Daniel Malastas, Balitang Pambansa.
Vice President Sara Duterte's apocalyptic vision of the country falling into ruin as a result of her impeachment by the House drew a slew of mockery from House Solons who signed the impeachment form. She was roasted even more by her poor analogy of impeachment and being ditched by a lover, as we hear more from our Mela Lismoras.
God save the Philippines. Yes, we agree. God save the Philippines mula sa mga Duterte, lalong-lalo na kay VP Sara Duterte. At mangilabot naman si VP Sara sa pagsasabi ng God save the Philippines dahil sa madaming pagkakataon, she failed to save the Philippines.
This was the response of Ulat Bayan Party List Representative Percy Sendanya to Vice President Sara Duterte's statement saying she hopes God will save the country after being impeached by the House of Representatives. According to Sendanya, instead of asking God for help, VP Sara should first explain the serious allegations against her. The lawmaker also had a remark regarding VP Sara's statement that losing a partner is more painful than impeachment.
Gusto kong sabihin kay VP Sara, hindi ito usapin ng jowaan. Usapin ito ng public accountability at pananagutan.
According to Surigao del Norte's 2nd District Representative Robert Ace Barbers, their support for the impeachment of VP Duterte was well-founded and not influenced by any amount of aid or money. With 215 congressmen officially signing as complainants and 25 more seeking to join, Barbers underscored a clear and unmistakable message and collective will of the Filipino people.
Nagkaroon po ng consultation ng mga political parties, no? Sila po ay nabigyan ng kopya nitong complaint na ito, pinag-aralan, inanalyze po nila at pumirma po ang ibang mga membro na sumang-ayon po dito. At wala hong kapalit dito. Ito, ang issue po dito ay transparency, accountability, at saka rule of law, no? Yun ang ating dito. Kailangan magkaroon din tayo ng ng paninindigan na magkaroon ng hustisya.
In an interview, House Speaker Martin Romualdez said they who signed the impeachment complaint leave it up to the Senate to decide when to begin the impeachment trial.
Yung impeachment, sir, minamadali ba niyo ba yung Senado to conduct the hearing?
No, it's up to them.
Wala kayong binigyan
It's up to them. We leave it up to their sound discretion.
Meanwhile, House Senior Deputy Majority Leader Sandro Marcos had this to say on why he was the first to sign the impeachment complaint.
Now, as to why I was the first one to sign, alangan naman kung sasabihin ng tao na gusto nilang huhukayin yung lolo mo at itapon yung katawan sa West Philippine Sea. Sasabihin niya gusto niyang patayin ang Pangulo at ang First Lady ng aking magulang at gusto niyang patayin ng Speaker. Ba't naman nagugulat ang tao na pipirma ako dyan? These are statements that can't be taken lightly, especially from someone with such a high position. So, nagtataka na nga ako kung bakit nagulat yung tao. Alangan naman kung sasabihin mo, huhukain mo lolo ko. Of course, I'll be the first one to sign. That should come as no surprise. So that's why I was the first one to sign.
From PTV, Melalas Moras, Balitang Pambansa.
The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, remains committed to safeguarding the maritime rights of the Philippines despite the continuous aggressive actions of Chinese ships in our exclusive economic zone. The PCG says it will continue to monitor Philippine waters. This comes after President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reaffirmed his commitment to protecting the West Philippine Sea despite limited equipment. PTV's Patrick De Jesus tells us more.
After President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. reaffirmed his stand to protect the West Philippine Sea despite limited resources, the Philippine Coast Guard assured it will not be deterred in adhering to this policy. Yesterday, the President emphasized the PCG and AFP will continue to fulfill their mandates despite the persistent aggressive actions of Chinese vessels in our exclusive economic zone.
We don't have the means na paalisin. Hindi naman, buti kung meron tayong aircraft carrier na may kasamang destroyer, frigate at saka submarine na papupuntahin natin doon para matulak silang palayo. Wala naman tayong ganun. Kung sa palakihan at paramihan lang ng barko, malayo tayo sa China. Pero ang policy naman natin is that we will just continue to defend our territorial, our sovereign territory and our territorial rights in the EEZ. Ano bang mission ng Coast Guard? Ano bang mission ng Navy? To protect the territorial integrity of the Philippines. So that's what they will do.
Alongside this is the ongoing modernization efforts, with more new equipment expected to arrive under the administration of President Marcos Jr.
This is the reason why President Bongbong Marcos last year approved the acquisition of 5 more 97 meters from Japan and 40 more vessels that will be coming from France as well. I think the silver lining of the statement is, again, to inform the Filipino people that we are committed in carrying out our patriotic duty in the West Philippine Sea.
In line with this, the PCG's BRP Teresa Magbanwa continue to monitor China Coast Guard vessel 3304. Currently, the PCG maintains a distance of 105 to 150 nautical miles between the Chinese vessel and the shores of Zambales. Despite high waves reaching 3 to 4 meters, the BRP Teresa Magbanwa remains unfazed, relaying through radio challenges the illegal presence of Chinese vessels in the country's EEZ, a violation of the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, UNCLOS, and the 2016 PCA Arbitral Award. Two other Chinese vessels, including the monster ship in the vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc, are also under monitoring. Meanwhile, the PCG responded to the statement of Sagip Party List Representative Rodante Marcoleta, who claimed that there is no such thing as a West Philippine Sea.
Binanggit na ito ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos noong nakaraang State of the Nation address. Ito ay hindi katang-isip lamang. Itong mga ganitong statement ng isang mambabatas na nag-a-aspire na maging senador ay nakapagbigay ng maling impormasyon sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino. Our transparency efforts that we're doing under this administration is for us to provide correct information sa ating mga kababayan para magkaisa tayo para tindigan ang laban natin sa West Philippine Sea.
In 2012, the government officially adopted the term West Philippine Sea under an administrative order signed by the late former President Noynoy Aquino, covering only part of our EEZ in the South China Sea. This was reinforced by the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, signed by President Marcos Jr. last year. From the People's Television Network, Patrick De Jesus, Balitang Pambansa.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. led the 123rd anniversary celebration of Bureau of Customs, or the BOC, recognizing employees for their leadership and dedication to the agency's goals. He emphasized the importance of earning public trust through honesty and sincerity in service, noting that public confidence leads to better compliance with tax regulations. Under the leadership of Commissioner Bienvenido Rubio, the BOC also set a record for anti-smuggling operations, confiscating 85 billion pesos worth of smuggled goods through 2,116 successful seizures.
Mr. President, your clear and expressed directives to curb smuggling have yielded significant results towards the protection of our borders and the Filipino people. Taking it into action, we successfully conducted 2,116 seizure operations, confiscating 85 billion pesos worth of smuggled goods, a record high anti-smuggling accomplishment in the history of the Bureau of Customs.
Due to the ongoing traffic congestion in EDSA, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, has suggested imposing a congestion fee on motorists during rush hour. However, Senator Joel Villanueva opposes this idea, advocating instead for the maximization of the work from home law, which he believes would reduce traffic congestion and provide better work-life balance for employees. Villanueva pointed out the need for fair and long-term solutions, not additional burden to commuters.
The Department of Transportation, or DOTR Secretary Jaime Bautista assured EDSA busway will not be removed despite earlier discussions about potentially making space for private vehicles. He confirmed that dedicated bus lane will be improved with the help of the private sector involvement on its hand operations and management. Bautista also stated that a feasibility study for privatization will be completed soon, aiming for expansion by the end of 2026. He clarified that the EDSA busway and the MRT3 railway line serve different commuter needs, with the busway covering a broader area.
The Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, or DHSUD, launched the 4-page portal aimed at providing information and services for beneficiaries of the Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino, or 4-page program. The portal serves as a digital platform containing policies, guidelines, and project details to streamline the application process and enhance public participation. DSUD Secretary Rizalino Acuzar emphasized this initiative is part of the government's goal to make housing programs more accessible and transparent. The move also aligns with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s directive to make government programs more accessible through digitalization.
Sa loob ng mahigit 30 taon, para kay Aling Noning, ang kanilang sakahan ay parte na ng kanyang buhay. Dahil simula pa noong 1986, dito na niya naigugol ang kanyang hanap buhay sa pagsasaka. At ito ang naging instrumento para sa kanya na mapagtapos nila ang kanilang 4 na anak. Siya ay isang ginang na mula sa bayan ng Lux, Gutalak sa probinsya ng Zamboanga del Norte.
Dako kay gikatabang namo ning Agrarian Reform Program, panghatagan mi og mga seedlings. Dako kay itong gikatabang namo kay gani kadtong mga gamay kaayong mga butang nakapahuman gud may sa among mga anak kay amo manggitikan ning maong luna. Ya naman po na magtanom og lubi. Mao ning makita niyo karon nga kalubin-an na gyud ni. Karon 70 anyos nako. 38 nako ka tuig nga gauma.
Mahigit 8,000 titulo at mahigit 12,000 ektarya na rin ang naibahagi sa ating mga magsasaka sa rehiyon ng Zamboanga simula ng nanungkulan si Pangulong Marcos. Mahigit 4,000 benepisyaryo rin ang nakatanggap ng kanilang mga titulo noong araw na ito. Ito ay sumasaklaw sa mahigit 7,000 ektarya.
Ug karon dako kay kong pasalamat sa atong sekretary sa DAR ug labi na gyud sa atong mahal nga pangulo pagsuporta niya para sa kabuhian namong mga magbabaon.
For the weekend, looking for a new getaway, the Philippine Travel Agencies Association, or PTA, has officially opened this year's Travel Tour Expo at the SMX Convention Center in Pasay City. This event is one of the country's biggest travel fairs, showcasing tourism deals with over 300 local and international exhibitors. According to the Department of Tourism, the Philippines leads in domestic tourism in Asia. Meanwhile, the PTA underscored that they are continuing to work with local government units, or LGUs, to subsidize or incentivize local businesses.
Kung saan valued ito sa $66.2 billion. And it's precisely expos and exhibits like this that help our local destinations be introduced to our tourists.
We are trying to also talk to other local LGUs and how they can sponsor certain things or subsidize certain things or diminish the taxes and helping incentivize all the local businesses as well.
In other news, agents of the Bureau of Immigration's foiled an attempt by a young couple who sought to fly out of the country on fake Holland visas. Eagle-eyed immigration agents spotted the suspicious appearance of the couple's Holland visas when they tried to board a Cathay Pacific flight for the Netherlands on February 2. And after subjecting it to laboratory component analysis, both visas were declared unmistakably bogus. After announcement by Immigration Protections and Border Enforcement Chief Mary Jane Hizon of the results of the lab scannings and analysis on the visas, the couple fessed up and admitted paying $268,000 for the travel arrangements to include the fake visas. They have since been turned over to the Interagency Council Against Human Trafficking.
On the other news, single parents and solo mothers in Butuan City in Agusan del Norte are upbeat and thankful for the nuances or expanded benefits of the Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act, or RA 11861. Among the salient amendments in RA 11861, the expanded age coverage to include more qualified beneficiaries, as we hear more from PIA Caraga Jennifer Peña Gaetano.
Although busy with work, chores, and taking care of their children, the solo parents from different barangays of Butuan City took the time to listen and learn to the discussion on Republic Act 11861 or the Solo Parents Welfare Act during the first episode of Panagtigom sa Barangay with the Philippine Information Agency Caraga. The City Social Welfare and Development Department or CSWDD of the local government of Butuan shared the new provisions of the law from 2 to 12 categories that will benefit more solo parents. Rose Jean Maceda is one of the standing solo parents who expressed gratitude for extending the age of the child from 18 years old to 22 years old under the expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act.
Nagpasalamat gid ko sa panagkatigom sa barangay para madugan sa tanan-tanan nga sektor, dili lang sa amoa nga ang solo parents naa nagyoy lawas, na nagyoy naong ug naa nagyoy tingog.
Daphne Tuazon, the solo parent focal person of the CSWDD, also urged those who wish to register as solo parents to submit necessary documents to receive assistance from relevant government agencies. Through PIA Caraga's Panagtigom sa Barangay, the city government of Butuan has stepped up and brought the solo parents education campaign nearer to the beneficiaries and to the communities. From the Philippine Information Agency Caraga, Jennifer Peña Gaetano for the Balitang Pambansa.
More Mindanao news to promote safe and peaceful elections in Western Mindanao, particularly in Zamboanga Peninsula. The Philippine National Police Regional Office 9 led the signing of a peace covenant and solidarity pact together with the civil society organizations and community leaders in the region. Julian Tuazon of Philippine Information Agency Zamboanga tells us more.
The PNP Police Regional Office 9 recently led an event to promote a safe and peaceful May 2025 election in the Zamboanga Peninsula. Key government officials, law enforcement agencies, civil society organizations, and community leaders reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining peace and order in the region in preparation for the upcoming 2025 national and local elections and the Bangsamoro parliamentary election on May 12, 2025. The Peace Covenant and Solidarity Pact provide a platform for stakeholders to pledge their support in ensuring a fair, credible, and reliable electoral process in the region. PRO9 Acting Regional Director Police Brigadier General Roel Rodolfo highlighted the importance of forging this pact with various stakeholders to ensure the safety of Zamboanga Peninsula residents as they exercise their right to vote. He also emphasized PRO9's commitment to safeguarding the integrity of the election process, swiftly addressing public concerns, and collaborating with all partners to provide transparent and effective service.
PRO9 will work hand in hand with all stakeholders, providing genuine and dedicated service to protect democracy and people's voice. By anchoring our actions in this principle, we affirm that every citizen's right to vote will be protected, and the electoral process will reflect the true will of the people.
This coming May 2025 elections, uniformed personnel alongside other agencies commit to provide a safe and peaceful election for Zamboanga Peninsula. From the Philippine Information Agency Zamboanga, Julian Tuazon for Balitang Pambansa.
More than 100 hikers from various places joined the third edition of the Kalinga Luminawa trekking adventure in Balbalan, Kalinga. Iril Signao of Philippine Information Agency Cordillera has more.
More than 100 hikers from various places joined the third edition of the Kalinga Luminawa trekking adventure set in the town of Balbalan from February 5 to 7, 2025. The trekking event took the participants through the Banao protected landscape along trails passing through mossy dipterocarp and pine forests, and beautiful views and landscapes along the Saltan River. Highlights of the event include a trek from Mount Nabanderaan to the Pamusilon camping ground and the hike to Dukligan and the Old Spanish Trail.
The highest peak of the Banao protected landscape is found in Mount Sapukoy with an altitude of 2,456 meters above sea level, overlooking the Ilocos region on the west side and the Cagayan region on the east side.
A victory night was also hosted on the second night to welcome the trekkers and make them experience Kalinga culture with performances of native dances by locals.
Kalinga talaga ngayon at may sangay ako, may isang province na kaya't kumapanan. So hindi nagkaroon ti offer ng Luminawan, talaga excited ako.
Very anticipated ko tong event na to every year sa Kalinga kasi first of all yung culture, yung mga communities na nadadaanan. Tsaka every year kasi iba't ibang municipalities yung gusto nilang i-feature.
The Banao Protected Landscape, formerly called the Balitang Pambansa National Park, was declared a protected area in 2022. It was also identified as an important bird area by the Haribon Foundation and is rich in biodiversity. Ariel Signaw of PIA Cordillera, Balitang Pambansa.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has announced that individuals caught in the act of vote buying or vote selling during the 2025 national and local elections may be apprehended by virtue of warrantless arrest. This measure aims to strengthen enforcement against electoral offenses and uphold the integrity of the electoral process. PTV's Luisa Erispe has more.
Either vote buying or vote selling. Both of these acts have no way out of the Commission on Elections' strict guidelines, because before the campaign period starts for the 2025 midterm elections, the COMELEC assured the public all caught doing illegal acts will find themselves behind bars, and they even allowed warrantless arrest for those caught in the act.
Sapat na sa amin na maipakulong namin kahit ilang oras yung mismong mga kakasuhan. O di mag-bail sila. Okay lang sa amin. Pero ang importante, kasi if it is a warrantless arrest, may procedure kasi.
The rules of COMELEC allow warrantless arrests when caught distributing money along with campaign materials, as this act can be presumed as vote buying. But the COMELEC will not stop with only arrest, but will file cases against all who've been caught. And for faster due process of cases, the COMELEC will be partnering with the Department of Justice, the Philippine National Police, and other government agencies.
Ang lahat ng kaso sa aming law department ipafile. Or pwede namin yung continuing deputation ng DOJ, pwede namin isik yung tulong ng DOJ para din sila mabilis ang prosecution.
Pati ho kami pag may magrereklamo, sinabi ni Chair time and again, kung hindi nila kaya, kami ang magpa-file motu proprio on our own, or we are going to pursue it. No, it's not going to stop at just submitting your complaint.
Magtutulungan na po yung law enforcement agencies, whether it be the PNP or the NBI, with the prosecutors para po mapalakas po yung mga kaso natin. And because nga doon din sa binanggit na kasunduan ng COMELEC tsaka ng DOJ, nagkaroon na rin tayo ng referral pathway kung saan very open na po ang mga prosecutors to mag-receive ng evidence.
Makakita po talaga kayo na mahigpit na PNP. Hindi namin papayagan vote buying.
Aside from warrantless arrest, for those physically distributing money, the COMELEC will also monitor e-wallet applications and bank transactions. The Committee on Contrabigay will implement money ban or transfer of more than 500,000 pesos 2 days before the election, and splitting the denomination of at least 20,000 pesos will also not be allowed 5 days before the election day.
Pag nag-aabot ng pera tapos may other corroborating evidence, for example, campaign materials, sample ballots or whatever, habang inaabot yun, ay yun pwede kami mag-presume, pati yung law enforcement authorities, that that is vote buying.
The COMELEC asked the public to be vigilant against buyers and sellers, as they can compile a complaint or submit evidence to the COMELEC to help them pursue cases. From People's Television Network, Luisa Erispe for Balitang Pambansa.
And for our weather update, the shear line is affecting southern Luzon and the Visayas, while the northeast monsoon is affecting the rest of Luzon. Based on Pagasa's latest monitoring, the Visayas, Bicol region, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and Aurora may experience cloudy skies with scattered rains and isolated thunderstorms. Metro Manila, Cagayan Valley, Cordillera Administrative Region, and the rest of central Luzon will experience cloudy skies with rains. Caraga and Davao region may experience cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. Meanwhile, the rest of Mindanao will also experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms caused by the easterlies.
And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation on a TGI Friday. Partner from Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Joe Fernandez.
This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again next week at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is Balitang Pambansa.